that there is no rule of law in this country. Rule of law is a theory. In practice, it's in tatters.
Why do you say that?
Well, there are rules that apply to you, but not that apply to the president. If you were caught here in your studios with let's pick an amount of cash. Maybe if you are caught here with 500,000 rand in cash, you'll be arrested. You'll be in prison. We'll have to come and bail you out. They'll have to go. Your people will have to find somewhere else where you stash some more cash to bail you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But this one of ours, who's our leader, right, has managed to escape the Reserve Bank. The Reserve Bank that has been praised for being so wonderful and being one of the independent institutions, came with one of the craziest explanations about why they shouldn't be bothered about this incomplete transaction. You understand?
First time we ever heard
the
that
Sage really takes us for fools. He really takes us for fools, and really he's disappointed me greatly.
On that one.
On that one, it's been a big disappointment. And then you've got the public protector. I don't have to say much about that.
Sure.
Right? Well, we are waiting for her to shake the tree. Right? She didn't find anything wrong. SARS, that chases you and I to pay our taxes, they are also washing their hands. So everybody's saying, hey, it's too hot to handle, too hot a potato. Right? And then Parliament... Parliament says that they get a judge and the judge and two other legal minds to examine this thing. The judge says, no, this guy has a case to answer. Sure, but we vote it down. Go to hell, whatever. It takes the EFF, that is always bedeviled, to go to court, to the Constitutional Court, and it's exposing that Constitutional Court. That's why I'm saying, in theory.
To their credit, they also took it there. It was a very brave move of the EFF to take that to the Con Court.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Hence, I'm saying to you, a rule of law in this country is a theory, sadly.
And the highest court in the land sits on it for over a year.
Sadly, that's a theory, because look at what's coming out of Mandla Commission and tell me, does that look like the rule of law or the rule of crooks? The rule of crooks, man. You know, when a minister of, the minister of police, Senzo Mukunu, has been a monumental disappointment. Monumental, because we thought, here's a level-headed guy, maybe not so much like theatrics of Tele and what. We're going to have, a very solid guy who even sees himself as future president of the ANC.
Yeah, absolutely. Many people are starting to talk.
I invited him. You must go and look for this clip. I invited him to my show, and I had a stick. I don't know whether you'd know. It's called Unduku.
Sure.
It's a stick with a little bit of a head like this. If somebody hits you with that thing, you can die.
I was holding Indugu in December at many Imigidi.
Is that so?
Yeah.
So I had that Mudugu. But let me tell you, the context was that I was paying tribute to Solimu Hulu on that day. So I had this Indugu, and I was the first segment of my show. I was, paying tribute to him and so on. So I had my producer had gone to look for this thing. In a CBD somewhere, they sell this thing. So she went to go and get it. So I had no use for it afterwards.
Right.
So the next interview was Mkunu, and I gave it to him, and I said, "Hey, you need this for the crooks." I said, "Please look into the camera there and threaten the crooks."
No ways.
Yeah, really? I gave it to him. I want to find that clip.
It's on the Power
to 3. Go and find it.
We'll go check it out. Yeah. Wow.
I hope he's still there.
Yeah.
It has to be very funny, because that's what I'm saying. I'm very disappointed, because now it looks like a circus. Yeah, because those criminals are laughing at us.
No, completely.
If they know that he's in their pocket, they're laughing at us to say, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah,
I say, because I was thinking, what would you say to the criminals to understand that there's a new era now where crime is not going to be tolerated? And I said, symbolically, take this this stick and talk to them direct. Don't talk to me. Talk to the crypto crooks. He's talking to his friends. He's talking to his friends. They're laughing at us.
Imagine.
To say, what are these people talking about? I mean, look at that guy who's the head of the Hawks.
Yeah.
in KZN. I mean, a pathetic witness.
Yeah.
Who sees nothing wrong with hanging out with a crook, even called that crook his brother, you know.
And then says...
Yeah, and then he says, no, he's taking him to some meeting and then he's having whiskey in the kitchen. And this is the rule of law?
This is crazy. This is so sad.
You better be joking. There's no rule of law in this country. It's theoretically, it's there in the statutes.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be implemented, but yet it's up to you and me to make sure that that rule of law can exist again.
I agree fundamentally, and one of the definitions of rule of law is that the highest and most powerful are held to the same rules as the lowest and the least powerful. And I don't think we can say that in South Africa.
No, we can't.
You can be powerful enough as a politician. We've learned that you rise above that, or as a criminal or as a business person, and the rules no longer apply to you.
Absolute law. We're talking now here, and you know, I'm so exhausted to talk about crop. People are saying, yeah, why not renting? It's been because I've rented about everything. Yeah. You just have to go to the YouTube for any subject matter. You can dial around there, you'll find it. You truly can.
Yeah.
There's a king, a fake king of the Bakatla called Pilani, fake chap. The real king was actually in exile in Botswana, came back. This guy was supposed to be like a paramount chief, right? But through crookery, the Northwest government has given him back his certificate of recognition. Why? Because he's funding the ANC. He's funding the ANC. That's empty stadium that the ANC gathered in now. They didn't pay for it. I can challenge them now. Mbalo must come here and tell us, he must give us a receipt of the stadium. They didn't pay for it. Bakata had to foot that bill as a quid pro quo of this fake certification of this king.
Sure.
This is the rule of law you're talking about. There's no rule of law here. We are being fooled here, right? And there are rules for some and not others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately. The DA, right? The worst hypocrites. They made a lot of noise here about Phala Phala. Helen Zille, you can go and find wherever she has said this, and John Steenhuisen vowed to their voters ahead of the 24 elections that they're going to prison Ramaphosa, imprison him and chain him for Phala Phala and what have you.
Remember they went to the FBI
They did all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Right? They are surprised now what Trump is doing to us, but they are responsible for it. They are the ones who are responsible for Trump's madness, essentially. Let's not forget it. John Steenhuisen wrote a letter to the president saying that Malema's chant is going to get people murdered here, etc. Then yes, he was in the Oval Office there to say, we're trying to keep these ones out. And he, in his view, it was a showstopper for him to try and appease a white racist leader of the U.S. You understand? So the DA vowed to take Ramaphosa to the cleaners until he gave them power. They are quiet now. Yeah. Can we imagine the DA 3 years ago as an opposition allowing Ramaphosa not to come and testify? They were quiet.
In fact,
apparently
they
abstained yesterday.
Yeah, they suggested, no, he can write a letter, whatever the legal team says.
There's no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, they know where their bread is buttered.
Yeah, no, it's very disappointing. Because
you understand?
They used to at least provide some accountability for presidents in
These
Parliament.
are the champions of your rule of law. When it suits them.
Yeah.
Right? Ramaphosa is a crook. When it doesn't suit them, he's okay. He doesn't have to. After all, he's not as sheepish as Mandela.
Yeah, he can give us written submissions.
He can just write down. It's okay.
Imagine we asked anyone implicated in the commission to just give
just write. You know, the same MPs are jumping up and down, wanting Phala Phala to appear.
Exactly. Immediately.
Hey, but when it comes to Ramaphosa, they said no. Otherwise, we'll also call Zuma.
Yeah, that's so true.
So who cares? They must call whoever.
We'll subpoena Brown Mokgotsi. He must come and sit here.
He must come here.
Ramaphosa can write us a love letter.
It's really a disgrace. You tell me. It's a total disgrace what we're going through. The Madlawa Commission is the bottom of the barrel stuff. It shows us that if we don't stand up and do something as citizens, we will regret it. Our children are gonna have nothing to inherit.
What do you think that thing is? Because there are many people, I feel like this year, especially coming on the show and saying, you know what, something has to give. So we can't keep talking about it and criticizing this. What do you envisage that next stage might be?
I wish I had an answer. I'm still, maybe I'm in denial. Because, they used to call me a prisoner of hope, Because even if I shout and scream, I still thought that the NC will renew itself. You understand? But I think it's a total lie that the NC will renew itself. We're lying to ourselves. And maybe the first stage is to stop lying to ourselves.
Yeah, right? And it's a difficult pill to swallow because the ANC means so much to so many people deep down that it can be very difficult to come to that realization.
No, absolutely. I mean, very few liberation movements can last as long as 114 years.
Sure.
And achieve the feat that the ANC achieved within 1994.
Yeah.
But I think it's not an exaggeration to say after 94, the ANC really dropped the ball.
Absolutely.
Right? And I'm not sure who's going to pick up that. It can't be the same people who have dropped the ball. Yeah. You need a different set of hands. Before the 94 elections, the 24 elections, I was the lone voice saying we need a government of national unity. I didn't know what I was asking for, if you see what's happening now. But I didn't envisage this in mind.
I think you also said it on this channel before the election. Yeah.
What I'm looking for is to say, party politics have failed us.
Yeah.
Truly they have. Party politics have failed us. So maybe we need to then look elsewhere for solutions.
Yeah.
There are good people in the EFF. There are good people in the ANC. Whatever is left of it. There are good people in IFP. I mean, if you look at that chap called who's the spokesperson of the IFP, man? Brilliant chap. I don't know why they are wasting him, making him a deputy minister. Because what does a deputy minister do? There are good people in the DA.
Yeah, sure.
What we are failing as a country is to be able to have a machinery right, that could harvest these good people to work together for the good of the country.
Yeah.
And I think the country is at that point. Right? We may have all our ideological wish list to say, no, we can't. These ones are on the extreme of racism. These other ones are on the extreme of fascism. The others are in the extreme of tribalism and so on. Right? Those things are not going to win the day. None of those extremes are ever going to win the day. And the 2024 election showed us that. Where not even a single party got the confidence of the people. And so, if no single party got the confidence of the people, what is the message from the people? The message from the people may well be that we need to find each other. And so find the competent ones amongst us and say to them, guys, solve the problems of this country.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
It may be an ideal thing. People were laughing at me when I was saying, let's have a GNU. And then 2 months later, all of them were now in the GNU. Before that, they were vicious saying, in fact, I remember the IFP president in particular said, if we do a GNU, it will be like bringing the ANC via back door.
Yeah.
He can be very firm,
Yeah. Meanwhile, they were the first to jump at
the next one is, we must listen to the people, this is what the people want,
Yeah.
You understand? So you ask me what is that one thing? I think we need to deprioritize party politics.
Do you think we could have like a president who came from outside?
That could be part of depoliticizing, right? I suspect Patrice Motsepe is hoping for something like that. And that priest my friend, the former Chief Justice,
yes,
Mogoe, he said that God said he's going to be president. The only way he can be president is if he comes in because all the parties say there's none amongst us who can be president. Let's get somebody who is neutral. In quotes.
That would be an interesting compromise. So every party is represented in the executive, but they all agree to bring in a compromise president.
So what is essentially you appoint a compromise president, right? Who did not campaign as a party representative, who's not even an MP. In any event, the president's not an MP. Once he's elected he resigns as an MP.
Exactly.
Right? So they get somebody like that, and then they say to that person, appoint the cabinet. And then that person says, right, give me
your best.
Give me your best in each of your parties. Then he looks at it, and then probably by proportion of the votes of each party may say, that party is entitled to 3 people in cabinet, that one 2, this one 4, but you give me your best. Because it's still his prerogative to appoint. And then he can also appoint from outside the political spectrum. I think our country is in such deep crisis that we need to start thinking beyond the usual.
Absolutely.
In order to resolve our issues.
You said something earlier that I was interested, because you described this current GNU as a disaster. So you don't think this version of the GNU is working?
No, the GNU, it's not me who's saying that. They accept it themselves. They don't agree on Bella. Right? Former Minister of Education has to implement and come up with some kind of regulations that could appease everybody. But basically, they're deadlocked on that. They're deadlocked on the NHI. Right? And you've got a minister of who's very, very passionate about the NHI in Mozambique.
Yeah, sure.
And my information is that there are behind-the-scenes blow-ups all the time about the NHI, etc. So they're deadlocked on that. They're deadlocked on the employment equity. Right? A DA who's part of government has issued an entire bill. I must say a nonsensical bill. Right? That again confirms that they can't spell the word redress. I don't know, I can't even fathom that thing. I tried to write a piece to say this is nonsense, and they seems to be very convinced that this is what they want to do. But basically, it's an anti-transformation bill, right? That wants to pretend that 1994 didn't happen. So they're deadlocked on that.
Sure.
They're deadlocked on employment equity, BEE, and so that they're deadlocked on the expropriation of land without compensation.
Yeah.
So this is a government of national deadlock for the next 5 years. And I said, they're deadlocked on everything. I mean, I don't know what they agree on. They agree on the date of a cabinet meeting.
Yeah. So it's a GND.
It's a GND, basically. It's true. And it's not me. These are the things that we are raising at the beginning to say, but why are you putting this together? This was a way of probably the ANC continuing to be in power, right? Aided by the DA to taste power.
Yeah.
And I think what the DA is in it to basically campaign. They will say, we can show you what we can do if you give us power. So I'm not really interested in the service delivery. They're interested in showboating and a show off, right? So that they can use that to say, we've got a wonderful Minister of Home Affairs. Look at us. Look at the PMA now. Look at how we have dealt with immigration and so on. We have a wonderful Minister of what is it? Public Works. Look, we've fired the corrupt ones and what have you. We have a wonderful Minister of Agriculture who's putting food in his mouth.
So I mean, it's what makes me laugh about this GNU. We actually also don't have any policy document of where these parties are going.
Yeah, they're deadlocked.
They forgot.
Listen, man. I mean, what else do you want? These guys, they had what you call a clearing house. How long did they take to just have the clearinghouse.
Yeah, sure.
I think it took more than a year and a half. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, if you get married out of committee of property, we try to sign the contract after a year and it's not even allowed.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So these guys go into a contract, but have a draft contract for more than a year and a half. Basically the rules of the game
exactly
are not even put in place.
Yeah. And we're coming up to 2 years now.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a holding pattern. That's saying, guys, with the holding pattern, we're not going to agree on anything.
Yeah.
Right. But in the meantime, you can have your ministerial packs. I'll have my ministerial packs. And by the way, we'll spend 3.8 billion rand just on VIP protection.
Yeah.
So it's a full-on gravy train. I don't know if you remember how old you were in 1994 when there was this thing called gravy train. This is it. It's a gravy cow train. It's fast. They are all in it and they don't want to get off. And now even the people who promised us that when they govern, they'll govern, but they're fighting over the crumbs. They've already fired each other from the same government of national unity, appointed new friends and what have you.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, this is what the GNU looks like. We wanted to succeed, but so far it has failed.
Yeah. Prof, I noticed you were present at the EFF leaders' trial and pre-sentencing hearing. What prompted you to go, and what are your thoughts on this conviction and the sentencing process?
Yeah. Look, I mean, obviously, the sentencing process will reveal a lot. And it's in line with this whole thing about the rule of law.
Sure.
I was very curious. I mean, I still write for international publications. I edit 2 magazines and so on. So I went there in that capacity to try and see for myself and not have a second-hand thing. Also talk to try to get the sense of what if you like, the fighters are feeling and how they see this. And there's obviously very, very, very mixed emotions about it. But it's in line with this whole. I wanted to understand, and I was hoping that in the debates that are going to follow, one can try and understand. For example, why is there a distinction between Malema and the co-accused in the sentencing?
Sure.
I'm confused. If I handed you a gun, right? In the first place, to hand that gun should be a crime because you are not licensed to hold a gun. So I hand you a gun.
Yeah.
Then you shoot the gun. You are guilty, but I'm innocent. I don't understand that. I'm sorry. And I'm hoping that probably in the appeal process, that can be ventilated.
Sure.
I'm truly wanting to know, because I'm very slow to go and conclude that particular magistrate was just trying to be funny.
Yeah, sure.
I'm very slow on that.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to go and observe that. But by the way, Malema is not going to go to prison. We and I may moralize all we want.
Yeah.
I'll just give you Jacob Zuma. The guy had 800 charges, not one charge of shooting, 800 in 2009, and we made him president. I'm not talking about Ramaphosa with money in his thing. He's not even charged for anything. I'm talking about somebody with 800 charges and has gone from court to court, partly with your money. Partly with your money, because he must pay it back. He's going to appeal that. I suspect part of the strategy is to appeal until you die. I think it's a new strategy. You think Malema is not going to do that?
Well, I mean, the law allows him to appeal as well. So
people who are thinking the guy's going to be in prison and they must start talking about who's going to be the leader and so on. That's highly improbable. Right? Whether it's correct or not is a different debate. Right? But it's, again, the rule of law. Surely, if there was a rule of law in this country, somebody should have stopped Zuma in his tracks within 5 years. It's been 15 years. I don't know, my math is not so good. 2009 to today, it must be 15 years. It's gone from... The trial is all about to take place.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So you don't think Malema is going to operate the same playbook? Why shouldn't he? If every track record says, if you are, if you have got deep pockets and you are with a particular category, you can get away with, not seeing the inside of a prison.
One thing I heard you say as well, and I do think is a strong argument for my lemma as well, is that it goes back to what we were saying, is that he's been brought before court twice now. Remember there was a thing where he pushed a security guard or something with Ndlozi.
During the Winnie Mandela funeral.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, look, on the scale of wrong things in South Africa, I don't know why prosecutorial resources were wasted on that. He's acquitted.
Yeah.
He's then brought back again to court.
Yeah. After 6 years. So how long is it been going on for? 6, 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. And so it seems like there's all this energy for an opposition politician who's not in the governing coalition. But then you have a president, you have other people in cabinet, and then there's just no prosecutorial urgency. And that I do find strange. And I'm not saying that it means Malema is innocent. It just means if there's going to be energy for the opposition politicians, there should also be energy for the governing politicians.
We've got, coming here, I thought, what should be the punchline here? There is no rule of law. It's as scary and simple as that.
Scary.
And I want somebody to come and contradict that.
Yeah. And it's all well and good.
How is there rule of law when you spend 1 billion rand on exposing corruption and you have a list of 100 leaders in the ruling party or the former ruling party, some of whom were retained as ministers.
If not promoted.
They were retained as, after they were listed there, they were retained as ministers. Right? And we're expected to take the rule of law serious. It's not there. We need to stop fooling ourselves.
That's so
you understand?
Sad, actually.
It's not there. So people are jumping up and down. No. He must go to prison. Nobody's above the law. Fine. Right? But when are you going to get your own president to start accounting?
Yeah, absolutely.
For Phala Phala. When are you going to get Gwede Mantashe to account why why Bosasa installed cameras in his house and he doesn't know? When are you going to get Thabang Makwetla to go to prison? He's still waiting for an invoice. He says he's waiting for this. This was his best explanation. I said, no. Why? There's this invoice here of you installed camera. Yeah, I'm waiting for an invoice. Somebody can. It's like Zuma still waiting for an invoice for the wall that he built around his house. It's getting worse by the day. And I'm not quite sure where the citizens must look to, right, to resolve our issues. I really don't know, And you think you have seen it all, and then what happens yesterday happens, where a whole DA that used to be opposition for the last 20 years sits there sheepishly and agree that, no, the president has to account.
Yeah, shameful.
Basically, all of us who are shouting on the sidelines are crazy, were seen as crazy, right? And the saddest thing is that there's this failure of leadership is also failure amongst the intelligentsia of the country to just unite.
Sure.
Right? One of our worst enemies, where you must see blacks thriving is when they are attacking each other about something. There they thrive. It's even called a PhD. Pull him down.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm not by any stretch saying that people who are black people who are doing wrong things, we mustn't criticize them. But it looks like that's our speciality. We're not specializing in how are we going to solve our problems.
Sure. And collaboratively so as well. Well, that's what I love about these chats, People see me, they obviously know you're a legend in the media space, but they almost get surprised when we come together and just talk. And it's not about pulling each other down, but it's just collaborating and bringing the voices together. I
can tell you what, I listen to Prince Marshall. I agree with him on many things and disagree with some, and he was, and I always listen to him carefully when he says, he's listening, he can hear that there's rumbles, that people are saying something has to give.
Yeah, sure.
Right? And I hear the same noises. I just don't see action.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you've heard this. I mean, so many people are talking about the so-called Afri-Forum of Africans.
Yeah, I've heard that idea a lot.
But it's a floating idea. I don't know whether it was on your podcast when I was saying to you, if you go to the Constitutional Court today, and I challenge you to try and do that as an academic and research, you may find that you can find no less than 10 to 30 judgments, right, that deal with economic rights that have been ignored by government. It was easy to take Zuma to prison, because he what did he do? There's a word for
contempt.
Contempt of court, right? But Mbalu is not in prison for contempt of court. Even after the DA said he went to court to say they must hand over the minutes of the so-called deployment committee, etc. I don't know whether that fizzled out.
Yeah, actually.
I'm not talking about that because Zile and Mbalu are now best buddies in the GNU, right? It's not in court for contempt. So where's the rule of law?
Yeah.
The place Zuma doesn't apply. And that's what I was saying at the sidelines of Malema. Today it's Malema, tomorrow is you and me. So it's not about the EFF.
Sure.
It's about us being vigilant, whether our courts are being used as political tools or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Go to the Constitutional Court, you will find 30. Now, I'm going to do this if that's the last thing I do. Find even 2 or 3 of these court cases and ask, why haven't you implemented these things? And then ask the MPA, why are these people not thrown into prison? Because they've got the power, they've got the mandate, right, of the resources of this country. The court has instructed them to say that community there, say they don't have water, you are going to make sure they have water in 6 months. And often those kind of judgments, if you remember the judgment to the minister of the then Minister of Social Development, where Mogoeng sat down now in detail to say you must do 1, 2, 3. So getting the court to be involved at that level, it means that you are so recalcitrant. The court doesn't know what else to do other than tell you, we need this by such date and you must do it this way, that way, that way. There are judgments like that have been ignored.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Because maybe those people against whom or on whose favor those judgments were passed are not so high profile.
Sure.
They are seen as minions there on the side, etc. And I hope this thing about the mayor of Cape Town building a wall is not true. Apparently he wants to build a wall so that tourists don't see the shacks or something like that. You must call him to try. We must try to understand that.
Let's hope
it's not true.
Yeah, because you can't be that senseless in a country like ours.
No, but I'm sure it's fake news.
It must be.
I can't believe that they're trying to. I think they said 100 million rand to build a wall, a big wall on the N2, so that when tourists drive, they can drive in peace. And people who are living in those shacks, instead of taking that money and improving the lives of those people, I've not had government, whether being this one or previously, having a serious plan around how to get rid of informal settlement. Those are some of the problems that are facing the country.
No, exactly.
Right? And now we are distracted with crooks.
Yeah.
Right? Crooks who, even in the face of overwhelming evidence, won't resign. They would rather be at home earning a salary. And don't tell me to resign.
Even getting salary increases. I'm sure Senzo Mkhunu
I'm sure he got a salary increase. You think he can be excluded? No.
Must be nice.
A political, what the president says, the spokesperson says Mkhunu is his political burden to bear. What nonsense.
Yeah, no. Clement did a good interview there because
that was very good.
Yeah,
that was very, very good.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that the SABC did not give him a phone call.
I wouldn't be surprised if he probably got some phone. We'll see if he's still there.
No, I'm sure he's still going to be there. It will be too obvious.
A great interview.
Because basically he was making a point that says this fellow protects his comrades, right? If you were a crook,
and
your fellow crooks sort of shielded you, right? They will laugh at you if you call them and say, "Hey, can you stop being a crook?" But you know what you have done, right? An entire ANC conference did not discuss Phala Phala in 2022. After the whole country was up in arms for 6 months, portfolio committee or whatever, that ad hoc committee, whatever. Those guys, the conference said in 2 sessions. Remember, they didn't finish his business.
They said we're going to now kick it to Jan, and then
that matter did not arise.
Yeah. Integrity committee had some report. We don't know what happened to that thing.
No, the telegram just disappeared. So why do you think that Ramaphosa can actually fire? He's waiting for him to resign. Probably he's begging him, say, "Hey, Chief, it's looking bad now. Please, can you resign?" It will actually be, I mean, usually they say, a cold day in hell. When Ramaphosa just fires a minister. Just saying, "Sorry, you fired."
Exactly. No, it's, it's going to be a big thing when the reports come in from Parliament and Madlanga, because at some point
they must converge.
Yeah. They must converge, and then the president will have to make a decision. And I don't know what he's going to do, because you would think there would be so much pressure he will act. But at the same time, you can't underestimate this president's capacity to not act either.
Yeah, but in this case, he's in a catch-22. You understand?
Absolutely.
He's in a catch-22 because the big question is, why is he still in office after the scandals?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because he protected the people. Why is Gwede still there as minister when he has failed to appeal? Zonde said no. In any event, if you read the papers, you'll be very embarrassed. If you read Gwede's papers where he was trying to appeal. Madlang, he says, no, I was not in office. I was just a secretary at Luthuli House. I mean, who is he fooling? The Secretary General of the ANC at Luthuli is the most powerful politician in this country after the president. And you don't need to be a political scientist to figure that. No, he writes the opposite of that in his court papers. Perjuring himself straight, without flinching. He's still a minister. Right? So now that is, unfortunately, the political burden that Ramaphosa has to bear. It's those people around him, the Nomvula Mkoyanis of this world, right? Who has not told us about his chickens and whiskey. But she's a top 7. In fact, she wants to stand again in 2027. Right? I don't know. And somehow they believe President Motsepe is going to solve it all. Yeah. I don't know what you think about whether he even stands a chance.
I think he's popular, but I think it's a poison chalice. If I was him, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it via the ANC route. Maybe that other route we spoke about, where you actually speak to all the parties and you say, okay, I want to come in as a compromise figure under a real GNU. That I think could work, but the ANC will destroy you before you fix the ANC.
Yeah, but also in that element of an independent president, he may fail on that because he's known as a founder of the ANC.
Maybe.
You understand?
Yeah.
It's interesting because in the interview with Voyo Mvoko, I don't know if you saw that, he denied wanting to stand.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right? So he denied, he said, no, that would be madness. I'm paraphrasing, but he was saying basically it would be madness if he stood. Right? But that may be a strategy.
Yeah, sure.
Where he wants to be seen as not wanting it.
Yeah.
And then he'll be asked to want it.
True.
Then he'll say, it's like Mbeki wanting to stand for a 3rd term.
Sure.
He didn't want it. It was the branches.
The branches will
want
speak.
him.
And to be honest, I spent some time at the NGC, and I think the ANC is very aware that the leader they choose next is going to have an electoral impact on them. So if they choose the wrong leader, they're going to be
Absolutely.
finished. So I do think there's appetite to potentially bring someone in who can save them from themselves.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, they have to then pass by Paul. Paul is on pole position to be president.
I think
he's deputy.
I don't think Mashatile is in pole position anymore.
In his head,
Sure.
And in terms of the track record and the history and of the ANC so far, the deputy ascends, right? So you'll have to say, well, why can't I ascend? I was never found guilty by any court of law. All this, the slogans are going to come out now. Right? So Mbalula to think he's going to overtake him. It's quite brave.
It is.
Of him. And then you've got the Petrus factor. And the way Mbalula is angry around the Petrus factor, you can see that he sees him as a serious competition who's going to really, take the rug out, below, from below his feet, so to speak. So that's going to be very interesting times.
Very interesting. And I think the ball is in Motsepe's court. If he wants to do it, I think, I mean, time is running out, but I think he's a formidable candidate. But to take on that job, it's already destroyed one billionaire's reputation in some ways. So he'd be a brave person.
Well, it's in the family because he may be thinking, let me just help my brother-in-law to continue the legacy. And in any event, as other commentators are saying, Cyril would rather prefer him than Paul.
Yeah, sure.
Apparently, that's in the Cyril would like to have somebody who's not going to arrest him. That's how they put it colloquially. You say, hey, if I just get somebody who's friendlier, then I can just retire in peace. So nobody knows. We can only guess.
It's not long now.
And contemplate. But it's going to be interesting times ahead.
I think the election is going to affect the succession a lot because if the ANC suffers another hammer blow like they suffered in 2024, that it's going to be hard for the leadership.
Well, you should say when.
Yeah, I think so.
When they suffer it. Because you see, the problem is, I was surprised. Ramaphosa says he was surprised by the election. I don't know if you saw there was a documentary about the GNU and what, and then he says he was very shocked. Why was he shocked? Because in the 21 elections, the ANC was at 45%. Right?
True.
And they had every explanation from weather to people not boycotting to vote, whatever, instead of saying, this is the message that our people are sending us.
Absolutely.
Right? A couple of weeks ago, people circulated a rant that I was making about the Northwest just 2 weeks ago. And it was done 2 years ago. I received a letter from someone who lives in the municipality where the ANC held its celebrations, right? To say this is like hell on earth, potholes, graveyard sinking, no, what is this garbage being picked up, etc., etc. 2 years ago, right? The same things people are saying them as NC has this habit of if they're going to have a celebration in that locality in that week, they go to door and so on. People are telling them the same thing.
Absolutely. Look at Joburg. I mean, Joburg is in a sorry state.
Well, they are fighting now over. They're saying they want a deputy mayor. I mean, these guys. I mean, when they say tone deaf, if a tone deaf was a person.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It would be the ANC. They want a deputy mayor.
Imagine.
Right? And they're saying that deputy mayor should be the MMC of finance. It just happens that the MMC of finance is a person who assumably won the elections because they're saying that the elections were fake and the ballot boxes were found in the field. I mean, it's like crazy stuff, movie stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently the electoral officer who presided over those results have been murdered.
Really?
Yeah, that's what's in the news in the last 2 or 3 days.
I didn't see that.
And I'm just saying now they're going to kill each other for the crumbs. Because the crumbs is all that's left.
Yeah.
If you look at the coalitions, you look at the GNU, you predict what's going to happen in 2029. We're talking crumbs, but then it means that fewer comrades can eat.
Yeah.
So they're going to fight over the crumbs. It's actually very, very bad.
Definitely. I think there's another shock coming in this election.
Well, we'll be on the sidelines to observe.
Indeed, we'll be there. Any book recommendations, Prof? Anything that you've been...
I've been reading 2 books in parallel. one is the book by Thebe Ikalafeng called Rooted and Rising.
Lovely.
Beautiful,
Great.
beautiful.
We had him here for his first book.
Yeah, I'm halfway through that.
Okay.
Very, very brilliant, because
Lovely.
he's raising key issues about identity. And I think we're losing that.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
We're losing that, and we're on the danger of also losing hope in ourselves. Lovely. If you listen to that, you're really going to be discouraged. If you listen to that advisor of Museveni, you think, my God, our message is not getting through. That says we need self-determination. So that Rooted and Rise, I recommend that. Very, very good read. And then Coming In From the Cold is a book by Bonang Mohali. Yes. If you want to be inspired and you're feeling there's too much negativity in the country, you go and read that book, Coming In From the Cold by Bonang Mohali. It made me go and read the other book he published before, which is called Lift As You Rise.
Yeah.
If we all just did that, because things are so bad, right, that no Big Bang theory is going to solve our problems.
Yeah.
So it means that in your corner, you must lift others as you rise. In your small way, right? Plant a seed so that in 20 or 30 years' time, things are not falling apart. Yeah. So those are the books I would recommend. Great. Lift As You Rise by Bonang, thanks. Coming In From the Cold by Bonang, and then Rooted and Rising by Thebe Ikalafeng, who, by the way, I must congratulate and give a shout out to him. He's been appointed Chancellor of the University of the Sol Plaatje in Kimberley, inaugurated in a few weeks.
Absolutely.
Truly somebody who's a shining light for our continent.
I must get both of them to come on the show. Thanks for the recommendations. Thanks again for your time. It's always great to see you. Wishing you all the best in this new journey as you start your own podcast. And we'll be there rooting for you.
Thank you so much. I'll see you at the launch.
No doubt.
Okay, wonderful.
Like, share, subscribe. Help us get to 400,000 subscribers. And keep it locked on SMWX. Yeah.
In South Africa, there's no such a thing called the rule of law. The law in South Africa has eyes and ears, meaning the law is applied according to who you are associated with, and what is your status in society. We have seen that as ordinary masses in this country, that the law has its own people that it serves and protects. That is a fact of the matter. Look at how Phala Phala is being handled with. Not just Phala Phala, but let's talk about Cyril Ramaphosa. Look at how the judiciary tiptoes around Cyril Ramaphosa. Now, I want you to ask yourself a question. Had it been Jacob Zuma who finds himself in Ramaphosa's shoes, do you think the judiciary will be so lenient if it was Jacob Zuma who was in Cyril Ramaphosa's position? If it was Jacob Zuma who requested that the banking statements which reek of corruption in terms of how the conference was bought, in terms of how the media, the judiciary, and the academia were paid, in fact, to use the proper wording, were bribed by Cyril Ramaphosa in 2017. Do you think if it was Jacob Zuma who had done that and then ran to the courts and requested the courts to seal the statements and keep them a secret, do you think the judiciary will have agreed to that? Of course, it will have not agreed to that. But because it is Cyril Ramaphosa, then a separate set of rules exists specifically for Cyril Ramaphosa. Therefore, you cannot be coming to us and tell us that in South Africa there's a rule of law. No, it has to be clear that there are certain people who are insulated from what you and I are subjected to. Now we get to Phala Phala. Look at how the public protector, in fact, it's even an insult to call that office a public protector. That is a President Cyril Ramaphosa's protector. SARS, look at how they've done everything in their power. Everything in their power to protect Cyril Ramaphosa, even concealing evidence that is quite clear for everyone to see that there's corruption involved here. But because it is Cyril Ramaphosa, a darling of the white system, the white establishment, then those institutions decide to turn a blind eye. That is despite the high panel led by the former Chief Justice had found that there's a prima facie case that Cyril Ramaphosa has to answer to. That's what we are confronted with in this country. So there's no rule of law in this country. Stop lying to people. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Tebos Kosana. The name of the platform is IZWI LABANSUNDU, the voice for Africans. Kamakuma Africa.